What's up, guys? So, who have we got today?
We have Ross Lane all the way from Ireland.
Wow, Ross Lane. And what deck were you playing and how did you do, bro?
Yeah, I'm playing branded Despia, the pure all gas, no ass version. And I did top 8 in the Irish Nationals.
Wow, solid job, bro. So, yeah, walk us through your deck.
Good thing, yeah. So you've probably seen this kind of similar list. I've been compared, the list, not me, obviously not. But the list has been compared to PAX list, which is very, very similar to it, with the 3 allures because they're freaking amazing. But I'll start at the top. Anyway, so you have your ad libitum of Despia, which is key. Holy Moses, run at least one of these guys. I've seen people run 2. I don't think that's incorrect, but I do think 1 is obviously perfect.
Yeah.
Same thing with Albion, right? So Albion at a 1-of is phenomenal because it's part of the combo, which everyone knows, which is branded sword. So you send branded sword at Albion, and you can just recycle whatever you have banished. This could be like Traffic and New Courier, it could be your Spring and Skit, whatever you need. But it's phenomenal. It's so good. It enables ridiculous pushes with Allure, banishing McCourier to just generate ridiculous amounts of advantage. And like I actually played 2 games during the tournament where going into game 2, I opened that, played it, and they just scooped when I had 10 cards in hand.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous, and it's a show of force, and you can't really out that most of the time. You have your 3 Illubers, obviously don't need to explain that. It's your main searcher of the deck. It bounces from the grave. It's fantastic. It combos beautifully with the theater of the branded, because in case you don't know, the Illuber summons itself from the grave, because when your fusion gets destroyed, then the Illuber gets destroyed, the field spell resurrects a fusion monster, and you're laughing because you bring back Mirror Jade and they don't know what to do. You have your Despian Tragedy. I've seen this run at 3. I've seen one guy run it at 1. He never made it to the top at all. You don't do that. You run it at 2 or 3. I like it at 2 because I don't run any of the extra deck link ones, right?
Okay.
And I think you can, and it's not incorrect to do it, but I think your extra deck, even though it's 15 cards and it's multiples of most of them, it's kind of tight. So I'll get to that in a minute, but I think 2 is correct. 3 is not incorrect, but I think it's risky as heck. Dramaturge, fantastic card. It's what people choose to cut when they're looking for cards to cut. I wouldn't recommend cutting it at all. It's just phenomenal in terms of its push power, its negation. It's such a giant ass as well. It's phenomenal. And now we come to the, I suppose, interesting engine of it, right? So you have the Edgem engine, right? You have your 3 Edgem chains, you have your 3 patchworks, and your 2 polys. These cards just overperformed so good. And I was actually debating this before the Nationals, during the Nationals, and after, still to this day, whether you run 3 patchwork or 2. The 3 was a really good tech choice, I think, because I run 2 droplets in the main. I have tons of discard potential, like with Twin Twisters, with Lubellion, just lots of discarding. Including Super Poly. So like you want those kind of extra 1-ofs that you just don't have any use for to discard. And it comes up. You'd be surprised how many times you search for that last bit of discard and you just combo up with that. Then it's I cannot emphasize enough how 3 is probably the correct choice. I know I just kind of counteract myself there, but I think it's the best choice. 3 Albaz, 3 Fallen of Albaz, phenomenal. I skipped Snow because I forgot Snow existed. Snow's amazing. Definitely run Snow. Snow is your Despian Comedy. Comedy is another one that people run as well. In the deck, it allows you to dodge targeted effects. So it guarantees your Lubellion going off or whatever else. But Snow does the exact same thing. It allows you to send it for Banded Fusion. It outs so many decks. It's phenomenal. Like I was against the it was against the DVD player, and he uses he used one of the targeting things to negate my branded fusion. The synchro dude, the level 8 guy, and I banished it. I banished it with Snow.
Oh wow!
And he was like, "Fuck it." All right, so it's fucking phenomenal. It's just so good. Like there's no reason for it to be so good, and yet it guarantees things going off in this deck you would never really expect. Just keep running it 1-of. The Ecclesia, people run one of Ecclesia as well, the Incredible Ecclesia. It's also good. It gives you free recursion.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's incorrect to run it, because it gives you that funky end phase effects where you can tribute it off. Some of the fun of that tribute the board. But I think it just adds too much junk to the deck. Anyway, moving on. Fun of Abaz at 3. Phenomenal card. Always run it at 3, especially in the Allure build, because you can banish it, you can use it for the normal summons, you use it for your fusion summons. No reason not to be at 3. It's a freaking phenomenal normal summon as well. It also allows you to beat over the birds.
That's true, actually.
Yeah, right? So you normal summon it, you just no effect. You're like, okay, no problem. Attack into the barrier statue, and then you're like, okay, fusion time.
Yeah.
And it's just whatever. It's been phenomenal. So good. You have your Spriggan Skit. Now, Spriggan Skit is actually debatable. I actually cited it out in a lot of games. But it comes up because if you're grinding through your resources and you use your branded fusions or your branded reds, whatever else, you can recur them using Spriggan Skit. It's just so good for the grind game. And if you open Ass, it's handy to get as well.
Yeah.
And it's searchable off from branded loss. So why not? Streamer Courier, I bricked on this card a lot.
Okay.
So I would probably cut it to 2. You do want to see it. Here's the thing: you do want to see it because it gives you ridiculous advantage with Allure. But if you're sequencing your plays correctly, you can get your branded lost out early. Search your Courier, do your Allure plays, and then go off. Right?
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to open with the draws and build up your hand and go into your plays. You can start off small, then snowball and bait out early negations as well.
Makes sense.
I used branded fusion as a bait target more often than not, because I just used branded fusion straight away. They negated like, oh, I'm safe, because he would have tried to do everything else first, and then go off into your what's it called, your Fight for Patrick plays. Yeah, which just lets you combo off again and again and again. It's so good at baiting out early negates. They just have to do it. I'd recommend people do that, like, especially if they're trying to push for the mind games, which you have to do against bird players, because they're just oppressive and they deserve it. So your Allure of Darkness, phenomenal card, run 3 of it. It's badass. I saw some dude on the Despia Facebook group today running 2 Desires, and it's interesting. But like, there's so many combo pieces and one-offs in your deck that you just want to see. I don't think it's worth it.
That feels very ballsy to run Desires in this deck, I feel like.
Holy Moses. Like, I got to admire it. Like, he's going to be going into 2 cards. He's like, fantastic, I've drawn 2 poly, let's go. But like, no, I can't see it being good. You can't interact with those face-down cards. It's just not worth it, especially a deck so reliant on key pieces. Branded Fusion, I've seen people run what I'm getting. Always run 3. Okay. You have your Branded in Red, amazing card. I almost wanted to run 3 of it, but you can recycle it. You've multiple ways back into it again. Drawing the 3rd one when you don't want to see it is just heartbreaking. Like, you activate it with 1 card in hand, you bring back your Fallen of Malvads, useless. You bring back any other Despia card, it's not really going to give you something. The fusion is amazing. Guardian Chimera is the best card in the game. Just run 2 of these guys. You can run 3 for running a bit more aggro and maybe a 40 card variant. That's probably what you want to do. But like, I wouldn't. I think in the format we're in right now, you want to prepare for the grind game, especially with Sword Stone and Thunder running around. So you want to see just maybe 2 of these instead of 3, because you don't want to go into your special summons early on. You want to draw into your monster and stuff like that. If that makes sense. So Branded Loss, phenomenal card. People don't ghost over it, and I don't know why they don't. Like, people mostly just ghost over the Alubra and think, fantastic, he can't go into Guardian Chimera. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll just Branded Lost and go off and just search whatever I need. It's great. One of the best cards in the entire game, mostly because, oh wait, you can't. You know what I mean? You can't ghost Urgot. I'm a dope. But the what's it called? The recursion it gives you with searching the Courier and the Spriggans and the Albion is just phenomenal. It's so powerful, and the fact that you can't react to your fusion summons, instrumental. I've seen people run 2 of these because it's so good, and they've done really well. In fact, they're the more budget friendly lists where you run 2 of the Branded Lost and a couple more of the traps because you don't run the Super Poly. But it's not as good, and it can beat the more expensive version, quote unquote. But against the other decks in the meta, it's just not good. It's going to lose. You're only playing against time in that sense. Phenomenal card. Definitely run it. 3 branded opening, just phenomenal. Gives you access to everything you need. It's your combo starter. You draw this and 1 Edge Imp, and you have a full board, double Masquerade, and a Mirror Jade. You're laughing. There's no way they're coming back from that. They can play 6 cards and they lose. It's great. Call by. You've got to run the call by, stop hand traps. It also, if you just, against Sword Soul, you draw this, and they summon their one of their tennies, and they link off the tenny, banish the tenny from the grave, and they're crying.
Yeah.
It's just, it's phenomenal. So good. Despia Theater Branded. I've seen people cut it. I can understand the reasoning, but it's another name to search. It brings back your fantastic fusion monsters from the grave. It's just big, huge bodies all the time. Run it. There's no reason not to. It's a free poly as well. Like, it's just so good. I drew this in one of the finals. I drew this. No polymerization, just a bunch of Despia cards, and this card allowed me to go off. It was just instrumental. So good. And a bait as well. Like, it's just so good. 2 Forbidden Droplets. This is the last minute edition, right? I had a 42 card deck going into the Nationals. I added in 2 Forbidden Droplets just at a whim. They came up, I think, at least once every match.
Wow.
It allows, it's same with Snow, right? So it allows you to resolve your effects because you can just or send your dudes as cost for it. It allows you to break boards with Sword Soul. It allows you to cheese the Full Wonder players. And in some of my cases, I went up against a full board of hero monsters, and I just negated everything and just known some of the Luber and just went off. It was just, it's instrumental, perfect, beautiful card. 2 or 3. I think 3 is kind of bricky because of the tight deck as it stands. I think 2 is perfect. It allows for a very, very aggressive side decking pattern as well, especially going to 2 and 3. I'll talk about the side decking pattern as well if you don't mind in a few minutes.
Oh yeah, wonderful.
Because that's such a core tenet with this deck. Anyway, your 3 patchwork, your 2 polys, 2 super poly. I was running 3 going into that, but I changed it last minute and I added in the banishment as well. The banishment is really interesting. I didn't have an awful lot of testing with it. I drew it maybe twice, but every time I activated it, I won. As you target your fusion, and they think it's going to be branded in red. It outs the anti-spell, because you can activate it in the next turn after they activate anti-spell, especially with Sword Soul running around. They've just they're main decking or side decking anti-spell against us, which is wise. When I beat this deck, anti-spell does it. And this one outs it because you can just bring back your fusion monster and go off.
Wow.
It genuinely helps. Super good. Branded Sword. I used the actual effect of this card to banish a bunch of my fusion spells. I used what did I use? I used the Spriggan's Kit to recycle them. And I pushed for game with a full board of 2,500 tokens.
Actually, yeah, they don't have to be in defense, do they? Freaking heck.
It's so silly, and it worked. It never comes up, but when it does, you feel amazing.
Yeah.
But the actual recursion with the Banish Zone is just, it cannot be overstated. Bring back your Spriggans, bring back your Mercurier, you're laughing. The monster negate from Mercurier comes up more than you think. It's so good. And then, I don't have to explain Super Poly, but I will.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's just 2 or 3 of. There's nothing wrong with running Banishment. Not running Banishment and running 3 Super Poly. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think 2 Super Poly and a Banishment is fantastic because not only do you have a searchable Super Poly, but you also have something to bring back your fusion monsters just in case.
Yeah, makes sense.
That's the main deck. Cool. I wouldn't change too much about it except for dropping 1 Mercurier. I think that's about it.
Cool, awesome. So yeah, let's go into the extra then, I guess.
Yeah, sure. So the extra deck was pretty interesting. So I had the Sprint Iron Dash Dragon because of the Contact C. It came
Yeah.
up twice. The Contact C'd me. I branded Fusion. They were like, you can't activate that. You have to use Contact C. I said, I know. And they're like, oh, okay, you run that one. So I did that and it just went off. It was just, it was grand, no problem with it. The extra deck, the effect that gets sent to the grave to special summon Fallen Babas or Search's Brigands.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
I never use a search kit.
Yeah.
Not once. I special summon the Fallen Babas in the end phase.
Okay.
Because it applies so much pressure, but they don't see that. They see the Mirror Jadis in the grave is going to pop their board, so they summon one dude, and they're like, okay, I use the effect, and they search the Long Yuan, and they just pass to me and like, cool, in the end phase, and he's like, okay, and he sends his Sheesh out to the grave. I'm like, no, what are you doing? Throw back the Fallen Babas, fuse off into Mirror Jade. Thank you very much. My turn.
Wow.
It's so nice.
Yeah.
So nice. Or even use Mirror Jade's effect on someone again. Oh, it's just beautiful. Can't complain with the deck. It's just I don't see enough people do that, and I think that's what separates a lot of like toppers with people who are like lower down the rankings. Is using your end phase correctly. Because you technically have two phases of the end phase. You have your optional effects and your mandatory effects.
Yeah.
And you can sequence those optional effects in such a way that allows you to confuse and frustrate your opponent. And I would definitely recommend reading Iron Dash, and where's the other one as well? Iron Dash and your Alba Lenatus, because they allow you to search stuff in the end phase. Specifically looking for Fauna Babas or the Fusion spell, which allows you to search the Poly or the Branded Fusion.
Yeah.
However, I am working on a new build at the moment that uses 2 DPE.
Oh wow.
I don't know if it's going to be good. It's going to be shit, let me tell you, but it's probably going to work. Because you can send a Lenatus, search the Branded Fusion, and then activate it next turn.
Wow.
So you can recycle your bits. So using your Lubellion.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, why not just try 2?
It actually makes sense to be honest. Yeah.
It kind of makes sense. It's stupid, but I just want to see what it looks like.
I'm excited to see it. I'm sure I'm going to see you with it here again.
Oh yeah, no problem. Top 8, no vods. So moving on, we have the 2 Albion. Yeah. One of the best cards. I've seen people run 3. Nothing wrong with that. I think 2 is just right because you run few targets in the main deck anyway. You run the 2 branded red, which is what you want to search anyway. Yeah. Sometimes I do search. I do search the branded opening. Only because it allows me to put another body in the board, which is this guy here, Dramaturge. Just the extra body with the extra negate. It's class. Why not? Yeah. So we have this Priskinian. Holy God, right? So you summon this guy, and it allows you to bring back your opponent's graveyard monsters that are special summoned the extra deck. It's just... Like, in the mirror match, it wins. In Sword Soul, they have the board there already. You have your Shishao, you have your 10E dude, who's a 3k banishment dude. You normal summon your Fauna Balbaz, you Super Body, and you just take their board. Wow. Because you have pair priority. Yeah. So you normal summon your Fauna Balbaz, you activate your Super Body, and you just fuse off with those 2 dudes. You summon this guy, and you beat over their Bro on the floor. And then you just... continue on your plays.
Then you just win. Take the Baron back if you want it as well, to be honest. Yeah.
Exactly. You take your Baron back and you have your... Gosh. It's just so good.
Yeah.
So good. Like, it comes up more often than you think. Against hero players it came up. Against the Sword Soul guys. And the mirror match it came up once as well because they had their Lubellion on the board along with the Masquerade. And I was like, I'll take those. It worked out. Like, it's super, super good. Yeah. And then you have this guy, Curtis. Oh my God. So, again, sticking to Sword Soul because obviously that's one of the biggest contenders for the meta in general. Yeah. Curtis, if you get Curtis on the board and they have Baron the Fur, you either activate the effect, and they either negate it and destroy your monster, in which case you get your Fawn of Albaz and you fuse it through Baron the Fleur and you go into Mirror Jade, or they don't negate it, they go down to 0 attack and you attack over them anyway. It's one of those really, really freaking fantastic cards. You can do this exact same thing with Shishao. It's just so good. Like, there's no reason not to end on this card in your turn 1 just to wait for when they summon all their dudes in the board.
Mm-hmm.
You go into a battle phase and you say, okay, activate this card first, and then they either burn the floor or they let you decrease all the monsters' attack. It's so
trades
powerful,
really
and
well.
it's
Also,
yeah, it's so powerful. MVP of the deck, Mr. Guardian Chimera.
Oh,
Run 2 of them.
yeah.
People are saying run 1 because you never see the second one. You see the second one. Like, holy, like, especially with the patchwork engine, you'd be polying into it anyway. Like, just go into this card, laugh when you draw 2 cards and pop 1, chuckle when you play it and you tribute 2 monsters on your board and you destroy 2 cards in their field, and you're like, wait, no, it's only 1. Like, no. It has other effects. Like, it's so good. And the targeting thing, just creme. Yeah. Just laughing at just every other matchup that's rogue. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, for
Such
sure.
a beast as well. Nivelion, like, it's fusion summons. It's amazing. It's also light target. Keep that in mind. Pearl is so good. Double Masquerade, because you summon Double Masquerade all the time.
Yeah.
It's just an early win against Flaunderies. Especially if you're going first. Against pretty much any matchup, it's an early win, really. Just as a quick anecdote, I actually went into the finals before Top Cut Nationals, where I actually summoned 1 Mirror Jade and 2 Masquerade against a DD player, and I passed turn with 2 minutes on time, and he looked at his hand for about a minute and a half, and then said everything and passed. And with 5 seconds left on the board, I said, enter battle phase, swing everything into battle phase.
Yeah.
And then time was called exactly when I said battle phase.
Yeah.
So he said, it's a draw, and he went to shake my hand. But the judge was watching. He said, you had a minute and a half, and you should have activated something. You were humming and hawing. You have to allow him to go into the battle phase.
Yeah.
Masquerade steals games.
Definitely.
No other words for it. Like, it's just a phenomenal card. Like, if you're going into time, make Masquerade pass. No reason not to. It's so phenomenal. Mirror Jade, one of the most amazing cards in the deck. Obviously, it's your big boss monster, you banish cards. It's all fantastic. End phase sequencing, it's the last thing to happen at the end of the end phase effects.
Okay.
So you use that to you know that's going to happen at some point because you activate it when it's sent to the grave. So your opponent knows it's going to happen. So they're going to change their playstyle completely, and that allows you to kind of mind game them. So they never build a huge board. They don't want to just mess with you. But if you're in a mirror match, you guarantee that you're going to have the branded opening in the grave, so you can stop your monster's destruction because it's monsters in brackets that protects, right? So you just protect your board at the end of the end phase. And you're laughing, but it's such a good card, especially with mind games, and keep that in mind, especially in your you emphasize all your monsters destroyed in the end phase. Don't build a board, and then you just don't do it anyway because you fuse off with the measly shit they leave it at the end phase. Dragon Stephania, amazing card. I'd run 2 if I could. But I don't think I can find the space. It fuses off with so many rogue matchups with pretty much every meta deck going except for Plunder. You can find targets for it. It's just so good. Definitely run it.
Cool.
Gotta have to do it. It's amazing.
Cool, awesome. And then your side deck, I guess. What was the reasoning behind your side deck choices, and what were your patterns like?
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So the patterns were. I wanted to make sure that I had the pattern in mind going into the tournament because. I find, especially with a lot of games going to time, I wanted to make sure I was ready to go. It also gives you a big, huge psychological advantage going in and just handing the deck to your opponent after you decided in 3 seconds. And it allows them to go panicking a bit, small bit, and maybe siding correctly, whatever else, because that's the area of the game, isn't it? It's mind games.
Yeah.
So I had 3 Drone and Lockbird. I was originally running 3 D Barrier because I was afraid of every deck running D Barrier against me, so I was running Cross-Site Designator for that specific reason. So I got rid of that thanks to one of the lads, Luke, inside Gamers World in town. Gave me the advice to run this, and I tested it a couple of games. It just was phenomenal. I went into the Nationals. I won game 1 with it against Heroes. I won a game against Sword Soul with it. I won against the Pro Under matchup using Drone Locker twice against them. And it was just like, if you're not running Drone Lockbird, you're giving yourself an immediate disadvantage. And if someone draws and Lockbirds you, the deck genuinely loses.
Yeah.
because of so much searching. So three drone lockbird. You can play through D barrier easily because you're going to set your branded in red and you're going to fuse on their turn, or your branded banishment, you're going to fuse on their turn. No need to worry about that kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
Just drone lockbird kills you straight away. You can't recur. Play 3 drone lockbird. You won't regret it. It's just so good.
Okay.
Never sad. I drew 2 in one of my last games.
Wow.
And I wasn't even mad because I drone lockbird on their turn, passed back, did it again on their next turn,
Gosh.
and they just scooped. It's just ridiculous. So good. Like you could be beating them with a wet fish and drone lockbird and still steal you the game. It's so good. Then you have your Necroworld Banshee coupled with Zombie World.
Yeah.
So, in case you don't know, you branded fusion, you send your Necroworld Banshee and your Fallen of Albaz, then you banish the Necroworld Banshee to set your Zombie World on the field, or even just activate it on the field, and then it turns off like targeted typing effects, so it changes everyone to zombies, right?
Yeah.
So that stops Wonder, it stops certain sword soul effects because they can't banish worms from the grave. It's so
Very good. Yeah.
It's such a cheeky fucking card, and no wonder the reprinted this. They knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
It's so good. You got to run it. I saw some lists running 2 Zombie Worlds in case they drew it, and 1 Necro Banshee. That's not incorrect, but I think you're asking for a break at that point. I hate Sword Soul to go up against it. I love the deck. I think it's great. Really fun, skillful deck to play against and to play with. But it's an absolute jerk to play against when you're actually wanting to play Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
So 3 token collector, and just in case the adventure engine came up, it didn't. Most people just ran away from the thing because Prank Kids was surprisingly not there. I don't know why. 3 token collector just in case. 3 cost a designator, not only for the drone lockbirds in case you're getting drolled, but because of the mirror.
Yeah.
Like the mirror just comes up. I actually crossed out designated and I called Super Poly in the mirror at one point, and they had drawn 2 Super Poly against me and couldn't play. It was just in case, because I figured my board could only be broken using Super Poly, so if I call that, I can play through everything else, no problem.
Makes sense.
So it's one of those cards that you run just in case, and it does come up because of so many people running the mirror. And it was a locals call because it was a 128 player tournament, and such a small tournament. I reasoned there's gonna be a bunch of Despia players and even more playing Drone Lockbird. So run it comes up, it's amazing. Then you have your Twin Twisters because back row decks are a thing. You don't want to see an anti-spell get flipped up against you. It just hurts. So you run this. It also came up across the designator ones. It comes up. You want to run 3. You don't want to run Cosmic Cyclone. And I tell you why. It's because it costs 1,000 life points. It's a lot better of a card because it banishes, and that does impact the actual game. But it costs you the 1,000 life points, and with games going into time so frequently, you don't want to be down to anything. And that will impact things. And then 1 red reboot for the D barriers, for your Eldritches, for your Dynamorphias, whatever comes up. Slap that down, and you're laughing.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's the entire deck.
Awesome.
But we have the side decking pattern. I think I wanted to mention that. So it depends on what I want to do, right? Usually it's going to be a 6 to 8 card side. Usually I'll be siding out 2 Mercurier, Spriggan's Kit. I did the 2 Mercurier, 1 Spriggan's Kit, 1 Allure, and then I did the Albion, and then I did 2 of the Forbidden Droplets and 1 of the Traps. And then against Sword Soul, I sided out. In game 2, I sided out the 2 Super Volleys because they knew I was going to do it, so they never ended on the Dark. They just ended on Burn the Fleur and the Shishao, meaning that even if I Super Volleyed, they had the outs on board to blow up whatever I summoned. So it just never really came up that Super Volley would actually win me the game, so I always decided it out going into Sword Soul games 2 and 3.
That makes sense.
Sometimes I decided it back in for games 3 just in case they'd think I didn't. But, I didn't want to play too many mind games. It was kind of difficult. Oh, timed out.
Oh, no.
But yeah, that's basically it. So you side out those 7 to 8 cards, and you would end up with that's not the deck at all. That's my betraying deck. No, there we go. So you ended up with citing out your 2, your 1, so it's 2, 1, 3, then 2 of these guys, 5, 6, and then your 2, 1. Sometimes started out 1 patchwork as well, and one of the traps. So you ended up siding out those cards, and you side in aggressively against whatever matchup you're against, and you just want to see 1 of those 8 cards, and that will beat your matchup.
Of course.
And that's it.
Cool.
It was phenomenal.
All right, well, awesome, Ross. This is definitely a very solid profile. I like it as well. I like that you have reasons for almost everything that you're doing, which really shows kind of just like a high level of deck knowledge, which is probably why you did so well. So yeah, really awesome job, bro. I guess the last thing is, do you have any shout outs or anything for anyone?
Heck yeah. So in Dublin, there's a place called Gamers, it's my locals, Gamers World. Shout out to Bill, Luke, and John, all the lads there who had me test. Phenomenal stuff. Had me get cards for this event. It was amazing. The judges on the day were just made phenomenal calls. They were super, super in tune with the meta at the time. So they knew everything. They had a list of regular things to look up on the day. Solid event. Super, really, really well ran. Looking forward to the next event.
Cool. Awesome. Well, yeah, guys, so that was another awesome Despia list. So yeah, I'm sure we'll be seeing more of Ross in the future. But yeah, thank you all for watching, and I'll talk to you all soon. Peace.